Welcome in everyone. In today's video, I'll be showcasing 5 of the best water farming spots that I've found in the Forever Winter, with the last farm being so good that you'll forget that the water mechanic even exists, as you'll never have to farm water again. These farming methods can be done as soon as you start the game, meaning that you don't need to have certain character skills, certain weapons, or anything extra unlocked at all. In fact, I'll be demonstrating these farms on an unleveled Scav Girl character with minimal gear to show how even a brand new player can pull it off. Now, of course, having certain things unlocked will make these farms easier and more efficient, such as bigger rigs to carry more water, but the main goal of this video is to simply show new players, and potentially people hesitant on getting the game, how fast and easy it is to get water, whether it be for unlocking game features or simply stocking up to live another day. And more importantly, I'm going to show you guys how water quickly turns into a non-issue after just 1 or 2 play sessions, to the point where you'll completely forget that this mechanic exists. Really quickly before we get into it though, if you're unfamiliar with the mechanic, in the Forever Winter you need water to survive. You can find water on your scavenging trips to the surface and are rewarded water for completing most quests. Currently, your water meter drains 24/7 at a real-time rate, and every water you find supplies you with 24 hours of water. If your water runs out, your game gets wiped and you lose everything. Yes, it's a terrible mechanic that I hope gets changed, but as I've said, I'll show you in this video how quickly and easily water turns into a completely forgettable issue, even for the worst of players. Starting off with our first farming spot, it's, well, not actually a farming spot. It's extremely important to know, so please just bear with me for a minute. Instead of a farming spot, it's a concept that you should know that will not only help you farm water a lot easier, but also help you farm anything in the game once you find it. And that's simply to keep note of where you find what. Currently in the Forever Winter, items have set spawn locations with an unknown chance to spawn when you load into a raid. This means that if you're wandering around the map and stumble upon a barrel of water tucked away in a corner, you just found a spot where water has a chance to spawn every game. If you were to check this spot again in future raids, you'll eventually find another water in the same spot. This applies to all pre-generated loot in the game, which are your lootable containers and large loot items like lockboxes, explosives, and water. So keep that in mind as we showcase these upcoming water farming spots, as this is what I'm referring to when I say water can spawn in this or that location. Now, as an apology for kind of leading you guys by the nose, we're starting off strong with a spot that I'd be willing to bet real money on that has a 100% chance to spawn at least 1 water every raid. Perfect for finishing your starter quest that requires you to extract 1 water. We're going to Scorched Enclave and are entering from the cemetery. Make sure that you enter from the cemetery, as if you enter from the other entry point, you're given an extract that is beyond terrible. We're going to make our way over to this bunker in the center of the map and crack it open via a little matching minigame. Simply identify the icons that are used in the top line, which are slightly rotated and altered. Once you get in, there are 3 guaranteed large loot spawns on the shelves, one of which I've always found to be at least 1 water. It is pitch black in here, but you can easily find the loot by looking for the little loot square that pops up and aiming down at them to easily pick them up. Grab your goods and head towards your extract located inside the pipe, which is just a short sprint away. Usually, this map has constant fighting, so the enemies will not pay you much mind unless you high-five their face or something. Feel free to grab any scraps on the floor, as your bag is probably still empty aside from the 1 water you found. Moving on to our next water farm, we're headed into the Scrapyard Nexus. I will start off by saying that this is a slightly dangerous farm, but it is by far the fastest and has the most easily accessed water spawns I've found so far. I do say it's dangerous, but that's only because the extract is a timed extract, which spawns enemies once activated, and you can't leave until the 60-second cooldown finishes. However, this extract only spawns melee enemies, which we can manipulate to make the run easier for us by using them to distract other enemies. Now, as soon as we spawn in, turn around and activate the extract. This will start the 60-second timer, which currently does not stop if we leave the area, nor close the extract if we take too long. As soon as you activate the extract, sprint down the corridor and head all the way up this ramp. The extract enemies should have followed you and should start engaging the other enemies on the ground floor. Make your way across the catwalks while dodging enemy patrols, eventually reaching this staircase on the far right. There are several water spawns near the staircase, one being on the 2nd floor here, a potential double spawn on the shelf here, and another spawn on the other side of the destroyed mech here. Grab your goodies and double back the way we came to head back to extract. The extract should be clear of enemies by the time you've done your loot run, and if they're not, simply sprint past them and hit the extract, or pull them away from the extract and have them fight the other enemies again. Alternatively, if you wanted to have some fun, you can simply gun down the enemies at extract should there be any left when you return. I'd recommend using something other than the default surplus guns, as it's pretty easy to be swarmed when you only have 10 round mags. Our next water farm, which is by far my favorite, takes a bit more time than the last two. However, it not only has lots of water spawns, but has a lot of loot containers and other large item loot spawns along the way for some additional income. For this farm, we're heading into the mech trenches and are entering in from the elevator. Head down the left path and hug the right side to avoid whatever patrol spawns ahead of you. We're aiming to get into this building on our right through this door over here. Be careful if you need to open the door, as it may attract the attention of nearby enemies. If this happens, simply sprint inside and hide in the next room until they lose interest. This room has the first of our water spawns, both of which are near these large blue barrels. Head upstairs to a medical bay area, making sure to avoid the patrol inside. There are a handful more water spawn locations, which are also located near more large blue barrels. There's also lots of medical crates up here that you can search for free healing. Once you're done looting, make your way to the other end of the medical bay and head through this left door. Go down the stairs into the next room, which contains numerous containers and other large item loot that you can nab. Once you finish looting, head out of this room and make your way to the extract to the left, avoiding the enemy patrols along the way. And finally, we have our final water farm to end all water farms. Once you reach this point in the game, you're extremely likely to forget that the mechanic even exists, as you'll be collecting lots of water passively, quickly, and making a lot of money while doing so. The only catch is that the last farming method cannot be done until you've unlocked faction quests, which you unlock after you finish your 4th or 5th beginner quest. Most, if not all, of the faction quests will reward you with water upon completion, but vary greatly in difficulty. And to no one's surprise after that last statement, this final water farm is simply farming a specific faction quest. The big secret behind farming water through these quests is to specifically look for the Extract Explosives quest. Upon quest completion, you get 2 days of water, a good amount of money, and a good amount of Scav faction reputation. This quest is given to you by the Scavenger faction. If you don't have this quest, you can attempt to kind of re-roll your available quests by accepting then immediately abandoning them. But sometimes you won't get new quests until you return from your next raid. Once you've gotten the Explosives quest, we're gonna go head back to the Scorched Enclave and enter from the cemetery once again. This time, we're solely after explosives, so we're gonna check a handful of locations right next to our spawn. The two major locations are slightly to the right next to this pile of boxes, and slightly to the left on the ground near this tower. Both of these locations can have upwards of 3 explosives spawn. If you're unlucky, you can check next to these boxes on this battlement as well. As a last resort, you can check inside the bunker to see if any of the large item spawns turned out to be explosives. Once you've gotten your quarry, sprint on over to the extract before people start to notice you. Now, you might be thinking we could just directly farm the water since this is essentially the same path as a previous farm. But getting water via a quest is significantly better for a few reasons. First off, personally, it's a lot easier to find explosives than to find water. As I showed you, there can be upwards of 6 explosives just lying around on the ground right outside of your spawn. Secondly, by completing the quest, you get a good amount of money, some EXP, lots of Scav faction rep, and 2 waters. If you were to just directly collect the water, you'd just have the water and none of the extras. And to no one's surprise, the extra money and reputation you get from completing the quest are pretty important. Money's importance is straightforward, and the reputation not only levels up your scav traders to unlock new goods, but also reduces their prices to make things more affordable. Things such as the equipment runner rig from Bagman, which has 3 large item slots and a lot more container space, which increases your looting potential tenfold. This is a rig that every player should strive to unlock first to make every run exponentially more profitable. And that's all we've got for today's video. If you guys found the video helpful, drop a like and subscribe. Aside from all that algorithm stuff, it helps me know that I'm making the right videos that you guys enjoy watching. And one final thing before we head out, I wanted to ask you guys if you have any go-to water farming spots that you wanted to share, whether it be high volume mother loads or quick in and out speedy spots. Drop your thoughts in the comments and potentially help out another struggling scavenger out there. Good luck guys, and happy scavenging.